Hello, pre-algebra class. I know that you all have been missing my face when you're watching the videos, so here it is. Pretty good, right? Pretty good face. So here we go. Mr. Chow time. This video is on graphing in 4 quadrants. Lesson 12, page 83 if you're following along in the book. So, remember the coordinate plane? I hope so. The coordinate plane is this set of perpendicular axes, the x and y axis here, which divides this 2D space into 4 boxes, right? And these are each called quadrants. This is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oops, here we go. For example, if we were going to write the ordered pair for a point in quadrant 4, for example, then we would be looking at W, right? And what is the ordered pair? Well, remember that the ordered pair for a coordinate is x and then y, and that this is the x-axis here, and this is the y-axis, right? So if we go along this on the x-axis here, it's -2, and then 2. So W is -2, 2. What about quadrant 2? Quadrant 2, we have V here. This is 2, -2, right? 2 on the x, and then -2 on the y. 2, -2. Okay, there are 3 other points on this coordinate plane. I'd like for you to pause this video and then give it a go in your notebook. Try to do it yourself, and then restart the video and see if you got it right. So if you did pause the video, then here we are, we're back, and we have x. X is 3, 2, and then y is -4, -3, and then z here, which is kind of between 2 quadrants, because it's on the y-axis, is 0, -3. Did you get all those right? I know you did, because you're such smart kids. Next, graph and label each point. So if you were to go in the opposite direction, you would be able to do that too, right? Here's S, it's 3, 1, 2, 3, and then -2. Here we go, S. Point S is in quadrant 2. T, -2, 4. This is in quadrant 4. So go ahead and pause the video one more time. Look at the coordinate plane and decide where you think U goes. And here we are, we're back. This is so much fun. U is 1, 0. Right there. Okay. Next slide. What if I were to give you a set of instructions and ask you to put a point on the coordinate plane? You should be able to do that as well. So if we were to start at the origin, remember the origin is here, the 0, 0. I'm just going to write that up here just to remind you. Origin is 0, 0. And we're going to move 2 units to the left. That's just like moving 2 to the left on the number line. That goes to -2. And then 4 units down. This is right here. And label it A, and write its ordered pair. A is -2, -4. And there you have it. You can also use the coordinate plane to show a relationship between two numbers. Basically a rule. You can use a coordinate plane to like graphically or visually show the relationship. For example, the difference between Mr. Chow and Miss Rollison's golf score is 2. So here is the rule, and I just want to talk about this really quick. Remember that the word difference means the answer of a subtraction problem, right? Mr. Chow and Miss Rollison. So this is Mr. Chow, this is Miss Rollison. We've subtracted the 2. Is an equal sign when you're given a verbal equation, and then 2. So if x is 2, then y is 0. If x is 0, then y is negative 2. If x is negative 2, then y is negative 4. As you can see here, we don't even need to do the math anymore. We can just see that there's this relationship, this straight line relationship, right? And if there were a, there's not, but if there were another point down here, or if there's another point over here, we would be able to put it on here, and it would look like a straight line. So let's look at another example. The sum of Mr. Chow and Miss Rollison's golf score is 3. So here we have the word sum, which is the answer of an addition problem, and then equal sign 3. The sum of Mr. Chow and Miss Rollison's golf score is 3. So I'll give you a second to jot this coordinate plane down in your notebook and give it a try. Welcome back. Okay, so let's do this together now. Let's say I put 0 into x. So that would be 0 plus y equals 3. This is the same thing as y equals 3. Right, so 0, 3. And what if we put in, let's say 2? 2 plus y equals 3. Subtract 2 from both sides, y equals 1. 2, that's the number I used, right? 1, 2, 1. Okay. So let's graph these points first. 0, 3 would be right here. And then 2, 1 would be right here. Now, before we even go on and do the third one, what would you guess the points would go? And if you said that you think that they're in a straight line, then you'd be correct, right? Because the powers for x and y are both 1. They're both 1 with an x, x with an exponent of 1 and y with an exponent of 1. And just like with the coefficient, if you don't have to write 1x, right? You can just write x, because when you have a coefficient of 1, there's no reason to write that. And it's the same with exponents. If you have an exponent of 1, there's no reason to write that. Everything is to the power of 1. And so when you have an exponent of 1, then and all of your variables are to the exponent of 1, both your x and your y, then the graph of it is going to be a straight line. So we can kind of already see where the points are going to be, right? So I think that there's going to be one right here. So let's see if I'm right. So what if x was 4? X plus y equals 3. Subtract 4 from both sides. And look at that. Y equals negative 1. 4, negative 1. And so with a graph, you can see a pattern emerging, and then you can see the relationship between the x and the y, and you can use the graph to figure out what any answer is going to be. The only thing is, your graph has to be drawn correctly. Like if you're drawing just on your own piece of paper and your X and Y marks are not drawn very well, then if you think something is going to be a straight line, then it's not necessarily going to be right, because your marks are not exactly the same distance between. So be careful doing it on your own. The notebooks I gave you have grids, so you can use those grids to draw your coordinate plane. And that's it. See you later. Goodbye.